they did not agree with you. For them it was perfectly fine. It was not like the question of slavery. Your morality is conditioned. You are a Christian, right?
Yes.
You're a Christian.
Yeah.
Your morality, your current morality is conditioned by liberal secular values. If you were a Christian living in Britain in the 19th century or in the 18th century, you would be getting married to a girl who was 7, 8, 9. You.
You know, I disagree with.
Yeah, go on.
It's not going to be a huge conversation. It's just one point.
No, let's
pick
talk.
Up on.
I want this to come out so people can see.
No, because I want your view to be clear on it as well.
Yeah,
it came across as a
please.
You're
helping me actually.
Yeah,
yes,
no worries.
Yes.
So obviously you must have said that the New Zealand attack perpetrator, the suspect of the attack, that one of his motivations was actually Christian values.
No, I didn't. I never said that.
You definitely at the least you insinuate.
No, I did not.
Right.
You got it wrong. What I was saying was he was definitely inspired by Crusader violence against Muslims.
Right.
Crusaders were a Christian establishment in the 12th century.
True.
Okay? They came about due to the Crusades.
Right.
Right? So Crusades, you know the word Crusades?
Sure.
It means the war of the cross.
Yeah.
Okay? So these were Catholics. I understand that current Christians, we call them evangelical Christians or Protestants, and Anglicans do not agree with the Crusades.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Any decent Christian will disagree with the Crusades.
Of course. I understand that. I acknowledge that decent Christians today do not agree with the Crusades because they were barbaric.
Yes.
They were barbaric wars waged against Muslims unfairly, unjustly.
Right.
They were based upon lies. The reason why I kept calling DCCI team the Crusaders is because they are doing exactly the same thing the Catholic Church was doing at the time. What was the Catholic Church doing at the time? You need to understand this. You need to understand the reasons behind this Crusader-inspired violence against Muslims, which is resurging again in our age. You have to understand the reasons behind it. The reasons were misrepresentation of Islam, misconceptions about Muslims, lies against Muslims. There is a book I really strongly recommend that you read. It is titled Islam and the West, Making of an Image. Making of an Image. It's by Daniel Norman. There's a man called Daniel Norman. In this book, he documents all the lies the Catholic Church during the Middle Ages was pumping against Muslims, and these lies inspired the violence against Muslims. This is exactly what DCCI does today. Right. If you watch their videos, their mockumentaries, have you seen the mockumentaries?
I have. Now,
okay,
but listen,
they are if we start making videos like that about Christians, and start mocking Christians and the beliefs that they worship the cross. If we start, for example, I want you to understand and
I
imagine.
100% understand you, and I get what you're saying. However, I think what you're doing is you're misconstruing the situation. You're mistaking the actions of a minority of people against Muslims. You're mistaking their intentions and motivations. You're saying that their main motivations are what? What are you saying?
Of DCCI.
Not necessarily DCCI. Let's say
I'm talking about
New Zealand attack, for example.
Yeah.
What do you personally believe his main motivations? Because from that conversation, the way it came across,
his main motivations were
because it's gonna hurt. Because you already told
to kill
me.
Muslims.
Understand?
Right. Okay. But
that's what he did.
Okay. That was his action. What do you believe was his motivation?
His motivation was hatred against Muslims, inspired by historic events.
Right.
Because his gun says it all. His gun had dates, names, and references.
Right.
Okay. This is a psychopath who has studied history and has come to conclude certain things from history, and then he put those conclusions into action by killing Muslims.
Right.
And what were those conclusions? The conclusions, looking at the dates and the references, were obviously very similar to the conclusions of the Crusaders, or things DCCI is trying to inspire. Hatred against Muslims,
so you're drawing a
mocking
comparison
Muslims.
between the New Zealand attack and the DCCI team.
Absolutely. The only difference is They are non-violent. They are non-violent. The only difference, yes, 100%. The only difference is they are non-violent, and the New Zealand attacker was violent.
You genuinely believe that they harbor the same kind of genuine hatred inside of the Muslims that the attacker? You genuinely believe?
I believe they hate the Muslims more than the attacker possibly.
Seriously.
I'll tell you why. Ask me why. Okay.
He left heaven.
They curse our Prophet on a daily basis. GCCI people, they call him all sorts of things. They did that today in front of you. They cursed a noble man, a man who taught nothing but morality, a man who taught nothing but taking care of orphans, widows, the poor, the needy, your parents. They called him that word.
You said he was earlier.
No, I didn't say that.
You were saying.
Are you hearing things? Are you hearing things?
No, by implication.
It's clear that people like yourself hear things selectively. Okay.
No. You were saying.
You hear things selectively.
You were saying in England in the 17th century.
I said by your standard, by your reasoning. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
When I said by your reasoning, all people before the 19th century were pedophiles.
Yeah,
this is what I said.
Correct.
Right?
If you
by
have
your
sexual
standard.
relations with a child, you're a pedophile. That transcends through time.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
What is a child? Okay, good. Now I'm going to shift this to.
What is morally?
What is a child?
What is morally right?
What is a
and
child?
wrong?
Do you know what is a child? What is a child?
Can I make my point first, and then you can?
Wait. I like to talk. You said anyone having sex with a child is that timelessly is a pedophile timelessly. You said that, right?
Right.
You said that. These are your words. Okay. We're gonna go and see what a child is. Okay. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. What you said there is definitely the truth. Anyone having sex with a child is a pedophile. Yes. What is a child? What is a child? Google. Dictionary, child, a young human being below the age of puberty or below the legal age of majority. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Okay. Now we will use the same search engine and we will search puberty. Okay.
I do get where you're going with this. I do understand your point that you're gonna make.
Girls' puberty. I like these discussions so that we can educate each other. Okay? I will go to NHS. National Health Service. What is it? National Health Service.
Interactions. It's good.
Puberty. According to the NHS website, when do girls reach puberty? Do you know?
It says 8 to 14. It says there.
8 to 14. Okay. So a child is someone who has not yet reached the age of puberty. Okay, you agree with that, right? You agree with that? Puberty is reached by some girls, not all, at 8. So would you say anyone beyond the age of 8 is a child, according to your definition?
Hold up,
Wait, I'm talking to him. I know you don't like it. I know. Wait.
Any decent person wouldn't like it.
Of course, I don't like it. Hello, I don't like it. I'm using your words against you. Right? You said a child. Anyone having sex with a child is a pedophile. I agree, 100%. Who is a child? We checked online. A child is someone who has not yet reached the age of puberty. And then we went to check what puberty is. On National Health Service, NHS website, it clearly states puberty is reached by a girl between the ages of 8 and 14. So by your reasoning standing here, Prophet marrying a girl at 9 who may well have reached puberty by the standards put by NHS website did not do a crime. By your standards, by your reasoning. So only prejudice and blind hatred of a man who lived in the 7th century, who is the Prophet of Islam, you will reject your own reasoning. I just showed you in front of you that you are completely misplaced. You haven't studied.
Is that true today? Is that the point you're making?
Who is talking about today?
Well, you read the NHS. That's the one today.
Is it today, right?
Yeah. Is that the point you're making? I'm confused.
So, okay. Are you still standing by what you agreed to earlier? A child is someone who hasn't reached the age of puberty. Do you agree?
Oh, No, I didn't say that. You read the full Google definition and you picked
we
one,
have it.
one
We have it on
section
camera.
of it.
We have it on camera. You agree? I read the definition. I read the definition,
that
and you said I agree.
That wasn't a full definition. What you just said just now.
Okay, can I read it again and see if you agree?
Right. Yeah, there was legality involved. But I get where you're coming from.
Wait.
Can I please
No,
make
you
my
don't get
point?
where I'm coming from.
I haven't made my point.
Wait. Patience. This is a very good discussion. I like to educate people, and I like to get educated myself. A child, read it. A young.
Yeah, right. I did read it.
I'm gonna read it. A young human being below the age of puberty or below the legal age of majority. Do you agree?
Right. Yeah, but
do you agree?
You just
simple.
Read the...
I don't agree. You can say I don't agree. Do you agree or do you not agree?
Agree. No way.
Agree. You agree. You agree with this definition. And when we checked puberty, by your agreement to or with this definition,
right, okay,
anyone below the age of 8 is a child by that definition. Okay, anyone above the age of 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, depending on when puberty is reached,
14.
cannot be by your definition regarded as a child. I am not saying that we should get married to 9, 10, 11 years old. I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong.
Why are you saying that?
Because times have changed, people have changed, cultures have changed.
Is that morally wrong?
Today it is, yes.
But
morality has changed. Morality has changed in the last 100 years. 100%.
Morality is subjective.
No, morality is subjective according to. Wait.
Because surely
let me explain something. Very quickly. That's a very good question. You've asked a very good question. Now at least you understand that people who were doing it before the 19th century, for example, in Britain, it was common practice at the time. Why? Why was it common?
But
for a number of reasons.
That doesn't make it right.
No. It was right for them.
Was slavery right when it was happening?
No. I'll tell you why.
Why?
But
that's a contradiction right there. It's either right or it's wrong.
Are you here to argue against me because you just want to argue against me, or you want to learn so that I can learn from you?
I'm listening, bro. I'm listening.
Okay, listen then. Listen. They were doing it because they had reasons to do it, right? They were getting married to younger women because they had reasons to do it. What were their reasons? We can talk about them. Firstly, we need to understand how young were women when they were getting married to them. I gave a reference earlier. According to the British law, as late as the 1880s, as late as the year 1880, according to the British law, are you British? English? Are you English?
Yeah.
You're English, good. Your ancestors were getting married to girls as young as 7, 8, 9.
That's wrong. I believe
okay, but who are you to say that? You didn't live in their time. If you were walking with a suit, if you were wait. I'll tell you why. You have been conditioned. You are living in the 21st century. You're wearing the dress code. Okay. Right. If you were a Victorian gentleman walking with a stick, with a hat, with a top hat, with a suit, walking the streets of London, you would have no problem with that notion getting married to a 9, 10, 11 years old.
Make it wrong or right.
For them, their conception, living at that time, it was not a problem. You have been conditioned for the last 100 years by liberal secular values. Things have changed. The age of consent went up and up and up. Okay, it was something different in 1920s. Then it went up, and then it went up again. So you have been born. You were born how long ago?
20 years ago.
20 years ago, good. You're a young man, right? You were born 20 years ago, and when you were born, the age of consent was something like 16 or 18, right? Now, because you were born in that condition, in that situation, in those circumstances, when you look back at humans or human history, you think, those guys were barbarians. They were idiots, they were stupid, they were pedophiles.
Yeah, true.
Okay, you do that because you're ignorant. You have no idea. You come out of your mother's womb, and you condemn the entire human civilization.
That is ridiculous, man. So you're saying that everything that happened in history was right. If it was right at the time, then it was right.
When did I say that?
Just now.
No, I didn't say that. Did I say everything that happened in history was right?
That's what you're insinuating, bro.
No.
By saying it was socially acceptable at the time.
No.
You're saying that they were within their rights to
I'm not
carry
saying
out
that
those
either.
actions.
What I'm saying.
was it wrong
What
or
I'm
was it
saying is. First of all, you need to understand what they were doing, and why they were doing it is another question, which comes later.
I got you.
What they were doing was they were getting married to younger women. And in Britain, the law was that a girl can be married at the age of 7. Who says so? William Blackstone, in his commentaries on the English law, published in 1867, page 110, the last paragraph on the page clearly states the marriageable age for girls is 7.
That's wrong.
It's 7. Okay, fine. William Blackstone is saying that. You don't have to accept it. No problem.
I don't
He's
know
not
what
disputing
the
that
point
that's
is.
a fact. He's saying that morally it's wrong.
Okay. Victorians, all of them, accepted this law, applied this law, implemented it, in some cases by force. To them, getting married to 9, 10, 11 years old girls was perfectly normal. To them, I'm not saying today, to them. Why? Now, one wonders, why were they doing this? One of the reasons they were doing it was the average age for people at the time, what we call what's the word for that today? The average age of people. Life expectancy. Thank you. Life expectancy for women in particular was very less than what it is today. Women would usually die in the 20s. Okay, this was one of the biggest reasons why they would get married to girls when they were young, right? When they would be young, 10, 11, 12 was normal for British men to do that. Okay, why? Men would be in the 20s, in the mid-20s, and they would be getting married to a girl who would be 11, 12, or 10, right? Because they knew that this girl or this woman I am marrying may not survive. And I can give you a number of examples.
I'm not disagreeing you on any of these things.
So this was one of their rationalities to do what they were doing.
Right.
Plus,
But the
they
question
were
is
not
about the
inspired.
morality of
They
it,
were
it's
not
whether it
inspired.
happened or
Yeah,
not.
the
No, but
natural-
There's no disagreement here. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying it happened. And
Now
it
we're
was wrong.
coming to morality. Very good.
And the natural
We are
conclusion-
liberal, secular moralities.
Adnan, one
Okay.
second. Adnan.
What if moralities change 20 years later? Will you then look back and say, well, people who lived before us? Because we go by our standards. We live today, and we live by our established standards. I agree with you 100%. Today we don't do it. I have daughters. I would never get them married at 12, 13, 14. Never. You know why? Because we don't that. Not that.
Because it's
people.
wrong.
No. Wait.
So it's right
Wait.
if the
No.
need is
You know.
there, it's right.
Listen to me carefully. Listen to me
need is there,
carefully.
you're saying it's
no,
right.
don't put words in my mouth. You don't.
Let him finish. Go on.
I believe a girl may reach puberty or marriageable age at 13, 14. I believe that. But that doesn't mean that she should get married at that age.
And 9 as well?
Wait. No. Yes, possible. It's possible. You know in Britain today, are you aware? In Britain today, girls as young as 9 and 10 and 11 are having sex in parks on weekends. Are
Disgusting.
you aware? It's disgusting, of course. Of course, we agree.
normal now,
Do you know it's happening today? Today's Sunday. Yesterday was Saturday. I can tell you with confidence, hundreds of thousands, if not, look, I'm not going to go to that
Hundreds
number.
of thousands?
No, I would say easily hundreds
all right.
throughout Britain.
right.
From the northernmost tip of Scotland
What's your point?
to the southernmost point of Britain. I'm telling you, hundreds of girls aged 9, 10, 11, 12 were having sex on the weekend. With boys their age or possibly a bit older than them, right? Do you accept that? Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think that's happening? Okay. So why are these girls having sex? I'm not saying they're having sex and this is right or this should be done. This is absolutely abhorrent. I don't like it. I hate it. It is immoral. It is wrong.
Why?
It's very
It's
clear.
wrong. It's wrong.
Because
then
today.
the Prophet did it.
No. Wait.
So why is that okay?
No. For their time, for their standards, for their culture, for their circumstances, it was perfectly right. It was moral. It was definitely moral for them to do so because of life expectancy, because of the other issues they had. It was culturally the norm. They didn't see it. Let me tell you something very quickly. No one argued about it. It wasn't an issue. I'll tell you why.
As with slavery.
No.
As with slavery. The vast majority.
You're
of the
wrong.
population,
You're wrong about this.
vast
You don't know what you're
majority.
talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Slavery in the 17th century. In the 17th century, people like William Wilberforce and others
Were
were
incredibly
fighting.
against it.
Absolutely.
The north of America, totally against it.
Yes,
Wonderful.
I agree.
200 years after the 15th
Okay, now
century where they were all for
you
it.
made a very good point there. North of America was terribly against it. Was the North of America at the time terribly against the age of consent for girls?
morality.
Pin drop silence.
No.
Pin drop silence.
I'm
You know
thinking how
why?
to word it.
You know why?
Morality.
You don't know what you're talking about.
No, I know exactly
you
what
have
I'm
no
talking about.
idea what you're talking
No.
about. History is a very interesting subject. It doesn't work in blacks and whites. It doesn't work in black and white.
100%.
It works with nuances.
Yes, but
there are
morality-
nuances.
morality
no,
does work in black and white.
They did not agree with you. For them, it was perfectly fine. It was not like the question
Adnan.
of slavery. Your morality is conditioned. You are a Christian, right?
Yes.
You're a Christian.
Yeah.
Your morality, your current morality,
It's conditioned by combination of my culture, my religion,
is
my
conditioned by
identity.
liberal secular values. If you were a Christian living in Britain in the 19th century or in the 18th century, you would be getting married to a girl who was 7, 8, 9. You. What's your name?
No one needs to know my name.
Okay. I'll call you Joe. Joe.
Jatinder.
I'll call you Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, a Christian living in the 19th century in Britain, would be happily getting married to a 10 years old or a 9-year-old
And
girl.
that would be
Okay,
immoral.
and that would be
And
for them it was not immoral. It was not like slavery. They knew
We're going around in circles.
We're disagreeing on something fundamental and we're not getting to the bottom of it. Our point is that morality is transcendent.
Are you a Christian as well?
No.
You're not a
I'm
Christian.
not religious. That
Are you
something-
an atheist?
No. Something.
Agnostic.
Yeah.
Are
Something,
you agnostic?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
Something is wrong or right throughout time.
No,
And
it's
you
not.
can-
It doesn't work like that.
And you can pinpoint something that's something that you can decide is wrong or right.
It doesn't work
And
like
at the
that.
time, it can be considered differently, but ultimately, something is either just or unjust. It's
I'll
wrong
ask you,
or right.
as an agnostic, you're saying something that's wrong is wrong throughout time. Okay. Do you think having sex with animals is wrong today? Tell me clearly.
Yes.
Okay, 20 years down
Big
the line,
yes.
20 years down the line, I can see it legalized in Europe.
Ooh, I can,
Okay.
yeah.
Would you look back when you're 40 years old and
Still
say,
wrong, still
say,
wrong,
still wrong?
Because
Why?
okay,
Why? Who are you?
I see
Who
the-
are you to
I
tell
see the
people?
point- I see
Huh?
the point you're making.
It's legal in Belgium. I don't know.
Yes, in Germany, I think it's
No.
General shit,
No.
you know.
There are brothels, but I don't know if it's legal. I don't know if it's legal. There are brothels. These are hidden brothels. Okay, where
Yeah, I
people
get what you're
people
saying
go and
from-
have sex with sheep and ponies.
you know, obviously,
and sometimes they put lipstick on them.
You know, obviously.
And sometimes they put lipstick on them.
We
as well.
all agree that that's a bar. Come on, let's just move on. We all agree. This is
Oh,
not
wait,
a topic of
No,
debate.
what do you mean? Hello.
No, the point he's
Okay,
making
wait,
is that
wait,
we can
Now,
easily
I
say
have a very
now.
good question for a Christian here. Do you think homosexuality is moral?
No.
No. But today is fine. Do you think it's wrong? Do you think it's evil? Now you guys are stuck.
I don't know about that
You
one.
guys are stuck.
No.
They were
Well, I
united.
said no.
Okay.
How am I stuck? Go on, please.
No, you're stuck because he's not agreeing with you.
He's an agnostic.
Okay, I know. That's why I asked him
We
that
have
question.
differing
I know.
fundamental beliefs.
Yeah. So to you, something is right today.
Yeah.
Okay. Something is wrong.
I don't know. It's
to
my
him
answer, I don't
today, right? So likewise, standards change from person to person, religion to religion, culture to culture, from
But
time
you
to
believe
time.
that Islam has the correct standards and correct morality.
100%.
Therefore, you acknowledge that there is a correct morality out there.
Yes.
You think it's yours. I
Yes.
think it's mine.
Yes.
He thinks it's his.
Yes.
We agreed on.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, as you agree that morality is objective in your ideology,
Yes.
in your mind, then surely it has to be objective throughout time.
Why am I
Time
holding
shouldn't-
this? There's no
Yeah,
rain.
there's no rain.
Why am I holding
Time shouldn't change your morals.
Yes.
Or your understanding of the morals.
Yes, I agree.
Right? Okay.
I agree. But the application of morals can change. It can change. For example, our prophet, whose umbrella is this? Whose umbrella is this? Is this a donation to me? Huh? Okay. Okay.
Can I make a quick point?
Yeah, you can, please. Yeah,
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
if we're talking about application of morals, right? Now, one of your arguments of rationalities used in the past to justify having sex with what we now call
No,
minors.
morality, not rationality, morality. Christian morality has changed. Do you agree? It has shifted.
No, see, this is another point of yours in the
Christian.
discussion earlier that I actually disagree with. The way that you were saying that how Britain is a Christian country and pre-1880s,
Okay.
it was valid to have
Okay.
sex. Hold up.
Forget
hold up.
Britain.
Can I
Forget
give
Britain.
You, no,
For
no.
the last-
We can use America as well, any other Christian
No,
country.
no.
I want to put forward
Tell
an
me,
argument.
tell me where there were real Christians in the world pre-19th century. We can talk about them.
As throughout history, very, very sparse.
Okay, give me one example.
Honestly, throughout history, one country that has adopted a government and rules and
Give me a society.
that is truly
Give me a
Christian,
society.
truly Christian.
Yeah. Who?
None.
None. So you are an extremist.
Yeah.
You believe none of the people who lived before you were Christian. You know why? You know,
No,
I'll
when did I
tell
say
you why.
that? I said none
Because
of the governmental or
you will
political
not
systems.
you will not be able to defend their actions, which they did or committed by their standards.
Now listen to me.
You are an extremist,
No.
and there will be Christians
I-
like you. There will be Christians like you a century later who will condemn you
Adnan,
for
can I-
believing that homosexuality is
Go on.
immoral.
100%.
For believing, because they will change their morality.
And
They
there are
will
Christians-
accept.
There are Christians now that would condemn me for that.
Okay.
Okay? So I am in agreement with you. Now listen, just because a country or political system takes on the name of an ideology does not mean its actions are representative of that ideology.
Thank you for making my point. Thank you for making
No,
my point.
I'm agreeing with you in this.
Just
In the
because
same way that
just
there have been
just
so-called
because
Islamic-
liberal secular democracies have a particular way of thinking or a particular system to live by doesn't mean that their standard or their morality is perfect.
Now, what I'm
we
saying-
may agree with their morality, we may agree with some of the points they make, but doesn't mean that they can dictate morality to the rest of the planet. It doesn't mean that, right? But you are directly influenced by liberal secular way of thinking, right? Because it is this liberal secular
are you,
way.
sir. So are you.
No, I'm not.
Can I explain to you why you're not?
I stand by Islamic morality.
Can I explain to you why you're not?
Yeah.
Now, I have strong reason to believe that if you were born and raised up in, Saudi Arabia, for example, as a country, right? I have strong reason to believe that your version of Islam, your interpretation of Islam would potentially be slightly more extreme. Extreme. I'm using extreme as a word. You know exactly what I mean.
Give me an example of extreme.
The cutting off of hands to certain crimes in Saudi
But
Arabia.
all Muslims believe that. All Muslims believe. It's in the Quran. It's in the Quran. A thief who steals a certain amount of wealth from people, who's a professional thief, would be punished in this way.
Right, okay.
All Muslims read that in the Quran. It's in the Quran. It's not because I'm saying it. It's in the Quran. So all Muslims believe that to be a valid form of
Right.
punishment. Of course, others disagree. Others call it barbaric.
Okay, brilliant.
Others Christians who were doing worse things, by the way, in the past. Because you see, what you have to understand is Christians change their morality. They're like chameleon lizards.
Incorrect.
They change their colors with times. They change their clothes with times. They change their moral values with times. Christian morality, pre-19th century, was perfectly fine with getting married to younger women. In fact, the Bible to this day
have to understand
encourages
one
that
thing.
idea. Bible encourages, in clear words, get married to younger women, virgins.
Adnan.
You can be a virgin and not a child.
Yes, I agree, but the Bible says child. It says a child,
Adnan.
and there's nothing in Islam like that. There's nothing in Islam like that. The Bible says child.
Adnan.
In the book of Numbers, chapter 31, verse 17 and 18, God commanded Moses to kill all women who have known men.
I'm not Christian, bro.
And I know you're not a Christian, but I'm telling you, I'm clarifying my position.
Right.
So Christians, even today, they don't read the Bible carefully. If they did, they wouldn't be liberal, secular Christians. They wouldn't be.
Hey, I'm one of the most
As-
conservative Christians I know, so don't point at me when you say that.
Okay, good.
I said one of the most.
You are a conservative Christian. You are a conservative, which is great. Do you stand by those verses? And believe,
stand by those verses?
believe
Now,
them to be
those
morally
particular
valid
verses-
today.
In all honesty, those particular verses, I have to go and read them myself. I have to understand what the
I'll
Hebrew
quote
says.
them word by word.
No. But you have to understand, right? There's a context as well to all verses.
What's the
As well.
context in killing women who have not known men and keep younger women, children, young child women? It says child women. I don't know. It says it's oxymoron, child women. Okay. It says, according to the King James translation, keep women, children for yourselves.
No,
And do what with them? Do what with them?
It doesn't say.
It does. Hatun read the passages later on. Take them to your homes, shave their heads off because they've been dishonored, and keep them as your wives.
Right.
And no consent. No consent. You don't ask them, are you okay? Are you fine? Do you stand by that morality today?
Like I said, I have to read these verses myself. It's the first.
If what I'm saying is true, if what I'm saying is true, are you going to take your shahada next week?
You were there when Hassan was
God
reading.
willing, never.
You were there.
Never. Don't say,
willing.
never say never. Never say never.
Never.
Never say never.
Never.
What if Islam is true?
Jesus has my
What
heart,
if
bro.
Islam is true? What if Islam is true? What if Islam is true? It's a big if.
I know as strongly as you believe that it's true.
I am
believe
saying
it's
on
not.
camera, if Christianity, as you believe in it, is true, I want to be a Christian.
Amen,
I'm saying,
man.
I'm so brave.
Come to church
Are
on
you
Sunday,
brave enough
man.
to say that? Are you brave enough to say that about Islam? If Islam is true, I want to be a Muslim. Can you say that? Can you say that?
So when you say if
I'm so
something
confident
is true,
about
you acknowledge-
Islam. I can say that
No.
confidently. If
Confident.
Christianity, as you believe in it
Language,
today, is
language,
true,
language.
I want to be a Christian.
Language. To say if something is true implies you believe that there is a possibility that it's true in the first place. Otherwise, you would not make such a statement.
Okay. Anyway,
So
coming back
therefore, you
to
acknowledge the possibility that
Anyway.
Christianity is true. So I
Got you on
appreciate
that
that.
one.
how.
It's English
How?
language, Adnan.
Okay.
English language.
Teach me,
Use the
please.
word.
It's not my first language. Teach me.
No worries, it's not mine either. Now, to use the word if you say if this is true
Yes,
or if
it's an
this
if,
is
yes.
false,
It's an a bit-
it implies,
Yes.
by implication, that you believe that there's a possibility of that statement or purported
No,
fact
not
being
necessarily.
true or false.
Not necessarily, because
It does.
if is used, if is also used to.
As hyperbole, you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If you're using
Hypothetically, it's a hypothesis can be false, can be right. Yes. Yes?
No.
So-
Hypothesis cannot be
So
true.
hypothetically,
if you know for a fact that it's false.
if Christianity is true, I want to be on the side of the truth.
No worries.
Okay. So the point now, coming back to morality.
we're arguing about something
do you support that biblical morality today? You don't. I know you would find it very difficult to stand by that.
Yeah, go on.
Right. For example, God commanding Moses to commit atrocities against women, kill women that have known men, and keep women, children for yourselves, to take them into your house.
I'm telling you in no uncertain terms that I know that my God will not command me to keep
Well, your
women-
God did command that.
me. I'm saying me right now today.
Okay,
So
but
me personally,
when He did command it,
morality.
was it okay then?
At that point, God knows. God knows.
So why can't you
I'm
accept?
saying
Why
I
can't
don't-
you accept
I'm
that
saying I don't-
younger
I'm
marriages?
saying I don't
Why
know-
can't you accept?
I'm saying I don't know the historical context of that verse.
Okay.
I don't know.
So
the
now you wanna know the
potential meaning
historical
of the verse,
context.
The Hebrew behind it. The Hebrew.
Very
behind it.
good.
What are the actual words? We're using English.
Now that you are put in the corner,
When-
you
no, no,
want
no,
to
listen.
understand the historical context.
to
But
understand
when it
one
comes
thing.
to Muhammad
Adnan.
and other humans until the end of the 19th century getting married to younger women, you don't want to understand the historical
You're not hearing me out.
context.
You're not hearing me
Yes,
out.
yes.
You have to understand, right? That Muslims, when you guys
Oh my
read the
God,
Quran,
I'm receiving a call. Sorry.
No, it's different.
1 second. Hello? It's from South Africa.